that we see in each other and in our students. I had a lovely dinner with Dr. Thomas and Dr. Murdoch on Monday, and we shared many stories, but one of the ones that was most fun was the fact that Dr. Murdoch and I were sharing about how old our children are, like how old are mine, how old is his, and then Dr. Thomas says, well, my kids are, and we start laughing because we're like, oh, we're your kids. And what a joy that is to look out and know that that person is so close to us that we can believe in that. And so today we're going to share some music with you, and Dr. Thomas has asked me to share some lyrics and text with you, and there is a point where I'm going to ask you to repeat something with me, so listen carefully. Those of you that have taught all-state music, especially around the year 2018, you should know these lyrics. Light dawns on a weary world, when eyes begin to see all people's dignity. Light dawns on a weary world, the promised day of justice comes. The trees shall clap their hands, the dry lands gush with springs, the hills and mountains shall break forth with singing. We shall go out in joy and be led forth in peace, as all the world in wonder echoes shalom. That's the word you need to know. Love grows in a weary world when hungry hearts find bread and children's dreams are fed. Love grows in a weary world. The promised feast of plenty comes. The trees shall clap their hands, the dry lands gush with springs, the hills and mountains shall break forth with singing. We shall go out in joy and be led forth in peace, as all the world in wonder echoes, shalom. Hope blooms in a weary world, when creatures once forlorn find wilderness reborn. Hope blooms in a weary world, the promised green of Eden comes. The trees shall clap their hands, the dry lands gush with springs, the hills and mountains shall break forth with singing. We shall go out in joy and be led forth in peace, as all the world in wonder echoes. Shalom. Please welcome Dr. Andre Thomas. Antonio Lopes. Toward the end of the program, you're going to see on bass, Steve McCombs. A little bit ago, you just saw on piano, four-hand piano, we had Gwen McQuaig. And then folks, how lucky are we that we live in a world where there is a Dwayne Philgreen. This is a reading from the Book of Wisdom, chapter 3, 1 through 3. But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of God, and no torment will ever touch them. In the eyes of the foolish they seem to have died, and their departure was thought to be an affliction. And their going from us to be their destruction, but they are at peace.
The composer that we're going to do next, her name is Margaret Bonds. If you're a soprano, you probably know her arrangement of, oh, I just forgot the he's got the whole world in his hands. I can't think of an operatic Afro-American singer, that soprano, that hasn't done that. Notably, Leontine Price just brought it into glory. And of course, Kathleen Battle, Jessie Norman, you just go down the whole list, doing her work. But we didn't know a whole lot about her other work. She was a fantastic pianist, and you'll hear that, where Dwayne has to take on the pressure of becoming Margaret Bonds as we sing the prayers of St. Francis. Margaret had a teacher. Her teacher's name was Florence Price. And she also, as she taught Margaret, they entered a competition. And Margaret submitted a song. And of course, Florence Price submitted her symphony in E minor, which became the first sort of, it was the only piece ever that an African-American woman, you got to remember, at that time, there weren't any women in the orchestras in 1930, all male. And if on some occasion they could find a female harpist, you might sneak in there. But other than that, it was all men, and certainly all white. And so when Florence did that, that was earth-shattering. And then Margaret went on to become the first black female to ever play with the Chicago Symphony. She did Carpenter's Concerto with the Chicago Symphony. Beautiful work. While she was a student at Northwestern, I went to Northwestern. That's my alma mater for my master's degree. It's a wonderful place. But in 1928, 30, it was not so easy for a black person at Northwestern. In fact, she couldn't even use the facilities at Northwestern. She had to go to the Evanston Public Library to use the facilities. So she has kind of mixed feelings about Northwestern, but she grew and continued to grow and write some great music. Zula Mader finally heard her Credo, which he premiered with the Los Angeles Philharmonic. But while she was at the library, she went and found some poetry, and she met, through the library, Langston Hughes, and they became dear friends. She said a lot of Langston Hughes' text. And if you'll just listen carefully, you can hear the romanticness about Margaret Bonds. You'll hear it in the piano. Tell she's a pianist. There's a little bit of rocking on and off, and maybe a little bit of grief that creep into this beautiful setting about St. Francis. So I hope you will enjoy Margaret Bonds' setting of Prayers of St. Francis, and I would intrigue you to investigate more music, more choral music now of Margaret Bonds. Thank you. Get on Board Little Children. And there'll probably be places that you'll sing with us. Although I sing in your head, don't join us, but sing with me. Get on Board Little Children was arranged by Andre Thomas. And before we go, I want to thank both the chair people here for the invitation to come back to the great state of Iowa, where choral music lives and thrives. And these directors have been wonderful. They really have been. I've had a different sword as we've gone throughout the week, as that goes. They have been fabulous. And I couldn't ask for a better collaborator than this man.
something signed and you have a piece of music, I'm sure he'd be gracious enough to see you and talk to you. We're trying to get him out of his shell, but. And singers, if you want to have your Get On Board signed, that might be an amazing thing for you. If you have St. Francis and Light Dawns, those are your exit tickets for me before you leave the stage. Thanks so much, everybody.
Hey, everybody, just letting you know, with the weather, we're not sure about